Nobody likes it when a unit quits on you. In today's episode, we are talking HVAC, heating, ventilation, air conditioning. And I've got my favorite home inspector, Hans Coleman, with 5281, a step above home inspections. Thanks for coming, Hans.
My pleasure again. I love being here.
Yeah. So whether you're a buyer and you're looking to check a property out for purchase, or maybe you're a homeowner and just trying to get some tips for making sure that your home is in good working order and you're doing all the proper maintenance, that's what we're here to talk to you guys about today. So HVAC, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. Let's start heating. When you get into a house and you're checking out the furnace, what are you looking for?
Well, first of all, if the darn thing works,
Yeah.
so turn it on.
You turn it on, you turn it up to 90, don't you?
We got to turn it up. Well, because that's because, of course, if your house is 72 degrees already, we have to turn it up higher to get it to force to turn on. So we're going to turn it up to 80. We want it on for a long period of time too, so we can check things like carbon monoxide, that kind of stuff.
Well, and don't you go around with like a thermometer and you're checking the air coming out of the vents to make sure that it's warm? You're not just like feeling it with your hand.
Right. Yeah, I actually use a laser. It's a laser temperature gauge. And then I'll actually put the laser directly onto the register itself to find out, are you coming out at like 105 degrees, or if you're only coming out at 62 degrees, and there might be some disconnection there.
Now, for more lay people like me, the furnace is usually the big metal box in the basement. It could be in a crawl space. We are used to seeing it like this, but more recently, I have seen them horizontal in a crawl space. We saw a horizontal one up in an attic not too long ago.
I see those ones, yeah. Those ones are hot.
Well, they're harder to get to, but on the actual unit itself, when you're inspecting it, because I know you kind of take the front panel off, you're like unscrewing it. What are you looking at in there?
The fire point, the firebox itself. Are there any, flames miscellaneously in some other places could indicate a gas leak. And oddly enough, what color the flame is. Is it like bright blue, like jet engine blue, or is it very yellow? If it's very yellow, then the unit is drawing in air from somewhere else. You can test that. Just blow onto it. Where is that air coming from? If it turns yellow, or does it stay blue?
Well, that's interesting.
Now you know. Just give it a little blow.
A little blow for everything.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. So the furnace, we've talked about the furnace. The air filter. I knew there was one more thing that we wanted to talk about related to the furnace. You've got an air filter in there.
Yep.
Now, I know that you always show my buyers which direction to put their filter in so that the air is coming down and going through the filter.
Hi.
How often do you recommend people replace those?
The manufacturer will say every 30 to 90 days, depending on what type of air filter you get. Also really depends on what your lifestyle is. Do you have like 5 huskies that are shedding all the time that is clogging up that filter? You'll probably be changing that every 2 weeks if you have that issue.
Or if you have somebody with like breathing problems.
Asthma, things like that, absolutely. So it really depends on what your living situation is, but typically anywhere between 30 to 90 days.
Okay, so that's for changing the air filter. And then how often do you recommend that somebody bring in an HVAC tech to clean and service the unit?
So, yeah, probably manufacturers are probably going to say every 1 to 2 years to come in and kind of certify and maintain type of the unit. Realistically, anywhere between 5 to 10 years is perfectly fine for that kind of stuff.
Okay, because the life expectancy on furnaces, is it 25 years?
20 to 25 years before we really need to start paying attention to it, and probably getting somebody in to look at it would be a good idea at that point.
Yeah, and like anything else, I mean, the more that you're servicing it, making sure that it's clean, it's going to last a little bit longer. Yeah.
Yep.
So, and that goes for the air conditioning too. So if we switch gears from furnace to air conditioning, What's the life expectancy on the air conditioners? Is it the same?
Well, there's 3 components to an air conditioner. You have the air condenser, which is on the outside of the house.
That's
That
the
big
big
thing,
box.
that big fan in it that just blows air up. Yep. Then you have your air conditioning unit, which is typically above where the furnace is. It's in a box. You'll have coils that'll run through it. It's called the freon gas. It makes it cold. The air blows through it, and that's how it gets cold. And then you have the air handler itself, which is just a glorified version of your furnace. It's just not hot. It's just blowing normal air to go through the cool air.
Okay. What else on air conditioners? I mean, what you just described is a central air conditioning system.
Exactly.
But here in Colorado, we have a lot of evaporative cooling systems, which we call swamp coolers.
Hey, good for you for knowing the evaporative cooler.
Well, because it's on all of our forms and contracts. Yeah, it's awesome. In the MLS listings,
Yeah.
it says evaporative cooling.
Usually when agents say evaporate or say something about the air conditioning system being on the roof, they're just like, that thing on the roof. So I'm happy about that. That's awesome.
Now, how did we get the term swamp cooler? Why does that were they commonly used in climates that are more swampy, or
Quite possible, yeah.
did I just swamp you?
Or maybe the fact that a swamp cooler does nothing but inject humidity into your air system, and that's all it does. Is it's just a pump that's at the bottom of a bin or a bottom of a box that pumps the water up. Then the water goes down over these pads, and as the air comes in, it cools it down. And typically it's only for like a hallway or maybe a bedroom, but sometimes they put multiple areas on those too. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, so we're talking about multiple different ways to cool a house, and we didn't really talk about the different ways to heat a house, and we don't need to go into a lot
That's
of
a lot, yeah.
detail because you've got, forced air heating from the furnace, you've got baseboard heating,
Baseboards, plumbing baseboard heaters, yeah.
plumbing, with the hot water heat. So there's different types of heating and cooling systems. So I guess I would say, you need to know which type that you have and then go from there.
That's what we do inspections for. So
So we talked about the lifespan. The air conditioner. Now, what are you looking at on the air conditioner that would indicate that it's having a problem?
Noise probably is the biggest thing. Is the compressor running at what you would be a normal sound? It's not like screeching kind of a deal, or is it just running at a normal sound? And the fan that's on the top too, is it banging around? Is it kind of a deal when it spins, or does it just free flow and spin? And of course your suction lines, where the freon comes in and out of the house, are they insulated? Is it frosted over? Is it nothing but like a ice straw, but you can see that's going into the house? It's nothing but ice. That's an issue. That's a problem, that kind of thing.
That reminds me too, because you're talking about the lines that are going from the condenser into the house. And I think it was sometime last year when I realized that the entire condenser is supposed to be level. So sometimes we'll see it where like whatever it's sitting on has kind of maybe the ground has shifted and now it's kind of at an angle. And so that was something I learned last year, that it needed to be on level ground because otherwise the fan isn't able to spin around in a level, and it wears itself out.
The bearings.
Yeah, the bearings get
The bearings will get worn out on one side a whole lot faster. So if it stays at an unlevel and it's been running for years like this, and then you put it back to level, you're probably still going to have that banging noise, even though you fixed the reason. But now you have bearings that are the issue and the problem. So if you replace those, keep it at a level surface, you should be good at that point. Yep. Should.
Yeah. What about carbon monoxide detectors? Because we talked about, it seems like a lot of the systems that we see are gas systems.
Yeah.
It's very
in Colorado, yeah, absolutely.
unusual to see the electrical system, although we did see one a couple weeks ago.
Absolutely, yeah, it does happen. It's rare, but yeah, like I even had to remember how to tag electric system on my inspection reports. Like, where is it? Where'd it go? If I don't use it not often that much, so yeah. Gas is typically what's used out here.
So that means that we need to be aware of carbon monoxide.
odorless, colorless, and it'll kill people.
Yeah.
Yep.
So where do you recommend, and how many like carbon monoxide detectors do you recommend be inside a home?
So never in the room that the furnace and the water heater are in, because you'll get what's called false positives.
Okay.
But always on the outside of that room. Typically, we want it up. We want it up on a ceiling. We want that carbon monoxide to be noticed as quickly as possible before it becomes, comes up into the bedroom, becomes an issue at that point.
Because I think it's supposed to be outside of every bedroom, isn't it? Or is that smoke detectors?
No, that's carbon monoxide detectors and smoke detectors as well. So that's why now is a good time to get those half carbon monoxide, half smoke detector units.
Yeah,
And have them, the combo units, and have them in the common areas outside of bedrooms. And I would have it on every level. So in the basement, on the main floor, in the common area of the main floor, and the place between the bedrooms on the top floor. Yeah. And maybe you have a bedroom downstairs on the main floor too. Maybe you have a master bedroom. Have one outside of that area as well. 15 feet within a carbon monoxide detector has to be within 15 feet of every bedroom on each floor.
Yes.
Yep.
So while we're talking about natural gas, one of the things that we see sometimes when you're inspecting houses is, um, and I don't know if it happens more on flips or what the deal is, but when people enclose their mechanical, so the furnace and the air conditioner, they enclose it into a small space. Obviously, when they finish off their basement, they're trying to get as much square footage as they can. So they're closing off the area around the furnace and the air conditioner and the water heater and making it into this like little tiny closet
Yeah.
space. Now, since most of them are natural gas, go ahead and tell us, what is the problem with that, with locking it up in there?
Yeah, the biggest problem is, of course, you have a fire source that's burning the oxygen. Fire needs oxygen to burn. So if you've closed off its oxygen source and it just doesn't have the ability of breathing, there could be issues and problems with that. The fire might go out itself, but the gas is still kind of going. That's
Mhm.
kind of an issue. Gas.
Well, and it also
It's not good.
makes it run harder, so, like, you don't get as long a life expectancy out of
Absolutely.
units.
Yeah, if there's no combustible venting in that area, you're going to suffocate that flame. You want to have what's typically high and low. So we'll have one that's high, and you'll have another tube that comes down, and that's for the low pressure, or that's for the low air. So that air circulates in that area and gives you the fresh air we need for that.
No, you said tube, but I thought you were talking about vents.
It's a tube that's vented to the outside. It's
Oh.
essentially like a metal tube.
So, well, sometimes it's vented to the outside, but sometimes the fix for it is like the door that opens, or even in the wall that's there.
Sure.
You can cut in a high vent and cut in a low vent and just put a vent cover on it. And that kind of makes sure that there's air coming in from the bigger room. So,
Sure.
so if you don't have that option, it does have to go to the exterior. But if you have like a big family room or something in that basement, you can get away with just those vents.
It also depends on if are we talking about both water heater and furnace in that same room, or is it just the water heater? You can do that if it's just the water heater. You can put those vents in the wall, and that's probably not a problem at all. You're providing enough oxygen. But if it's the water heater and the furnace that's in that exact same room, it's much better to get the proper amount of venting from an exterior that brings in those pipes
Yes.
out into that room.
Yeah, I was just talking about the water heater. You're right, because the furnace it has to be vented to the exterior. Yeah.
Yep.
Um,
It doesn't have to be vented to the exterior. There's a calculation that the HVAC companies use to figure out where that air needs to come from. Is the room big enough? Is it too small? If it's too small, do we have to vent to the outside? If it's too small, can we just put the vents in? But that's an HVAC question on exactly where they're going to bring that air in from.
yeah, that's what I was
Stick with the
talking about.
professionals on that
If
kind of
the
stuff.
room was big enough.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Stick with the professionals. Yes. Again, this is one of the great things about Hans, is that, sometimes we talk about, is that a big ticket item? Is that not a big deal? Is this something you can handle yourself pretty easily between you and a YouTube video? Or is this something where you really want to bring in a professional? So when we're talking about the venting for your HVAC system, that's something that an HVAC tech is going to be able to tell you. I don't think it'd be easy to figure that out on your own. I agree.
No, absolutely. Stick with the people that know, especially when it comes to systems that can actually hurt you. Your electrical panel, if you don't know what you're touching, don't touch it.
It's a good rule.
Yeah, it's a general good rule. Same thing with the HVAC system. If your safety shutoff switch didn't turn off and you still put your hand in the fan, you're gonna get hurt. Don't do that. So if you don't know what you're touching, if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't know what you're messing with, stick with the professionals. No better way of saying it.
That's good advice.
Yep.
So we've talked a little bit about ventilation, and I have a myth to bust.
All right, let's do this one. What do we got on this one?
All right, Hans, fact or fiction? I should clean out my ductwork every year to prevent fires.
No. Absolute fact or fiction. Absolute fiction. Not every year. It is important to do it. It is important to keep up with it, but it is not something that you need to be doing every year. 5 to 10 years is perfectly fine.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, if you have your dryer that you're running if you have a dryer that you're running the dry cycle on multiple times, probably a good idea to get that ductwork fixed.
This is why you got to clean out your dryer vent. Your
vent.
dryer thing has a thing to clean out, and like it should be cleaned out every load, in my opinion.
Sure, the lint trap,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah, but I'm talking about like the actual dryer line itself. If it's not vented correctly, maybe it has too many swigglies or back, switchbacks.
I guess I was just thinking that if you kept the lint cleaned out regularly, that then the vents would not get as dirty.
No, there's so much more. Yeah, there's so much more. They actually have a tub of lint essentially in the dryer itself, not just from the lint trap, but there's so much more to clean out from behind the dryer itself, not including the vent trap or the vent line itself. Like how far does it go until it gets out of the house? Kind of a deal. Is it clogged?
So we should clean the dryer vents, but probably 5 to 10 years is good enough.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, this has been talked about a lot of units on this episode.
Another unit down.
So this episode, we talked about HVAC, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. These are some big ticket items in your home. And we've been speaking with Hans Coleman with 5281, A Step Above Home Inspections. So thanks so much for your time, Hans.
Always my pleasure.
All right.
If you like this content and want to support the channel, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go.